Learning outcomes. After starting this module, you shall be able to know the various strategies for decision making under uncertainty, learn the methodology of applying strategy, identify the most suitable strategy, evaluate the payoffs of various actions or decisions, analyze the payoff of various decisions. Introduction. Life brings to the fore so many options and choices, some of which are of routine nature while others may be very crucial. The outcome of these choices cannot be known in advance, therefore the decision has to be taken in the atmosphere of uncertainty. In businesses also, a businessman is plagued by the same problem of uncertainty. He is required to take so many decisions in day-to-day matters and once in a while very important long-term decisions that can make or break the entity. Had there been a magic wand that could take us in future and show the outcome of a choice, businesses would flourish. But perhaps this is the main thing that distinguishes a successful businessman from others. All face the same situation of uncertainty, but a smart businessman would still be able to take the right decision. If this happens at all times, this cannot be luck. Therefore, there has to be some way by which this uncertainty and risk can be mitigated or some strategies that can help the businessman take an enlightened decision. Let us try to find what strategies are there that can overcome these uncertainties. Handling risk and uncertainty. Uncertainty means not knowing the outcome in advance. What will happen after an action is taken cannot be predicted. There are two aspects of handling uncertainty. The first is the mathematical tool that may help us quantify uncertainty by assigning probabilities. And the second is the subjective aspect where once quantified, the manager takes the decision. Sometimes it is not possible to assign probabilities to likely state of nature. In that case, it cannot be quantified and it becomes purely subjective decision. But a subjective decision should also be taken in some systematic manner. Here we shall try to understand some strategies that help us in taking decisions and mitigating the effect, sometimes by assigning probabilities and sometimes without. Similarly, there are some ways of dealing with risk, like risk can be avoided, but risk avoidance is not always an option, and if it is a costly option. As to some extent, it would mean not doing anything. Risk may also be accepted, but that would mean not actually applying any strategy or technique. This will happen when it will be absolutely essential to carry on business. This risk would be unavoidable and necessary. Risk may be transferred. For instance, one may transfer the risk to the insurance company. The enterprise will pay some premium to the insurance company and the company will indemnify the enterprise in case of any loss. Thus, the risk passes on to the insurance company. Another way of mitigating risk is to share the risk with another. This can happen when the enterprise outsources business to a third party or an outsider. The person who shares the benefit of business will to some extent also share the risk of the business. Next is uncertainty mitigation strategies. There are ways in which a person can reduce or overcome problems of uncertainty or risk. There are some mathematical ways and some are subjective. Mathematical techniques like linear programming helps in taking an objective decision. Some techniques are subjective, like risk can be shared and risk can also be transferred. Some risk can also be avoided. When we say risk can be transferred, it refers to a very good technique of insuring against the risk. Some new instruments have also come as a result of financial re-engineering like derivatives that help in mitigating risk and uncertainty. However, the very simple strategies of mitigating uncertainty and risk are using subjectivity as well as mathematical tools. In order to reach a decision, a payoff matrix should first be constructed, which gives us the profile of various outcomes in a given state of nature for a course of action taken by a decision maker. The rows of the matrix shows the different states of nature that can occur over which the decision maker has no control, denoted by S1, S2, etc., and the columns of the matrix show the various course of action or options available to the decision maker and are denoted by A1, A2, etc. The body of the matrix will show various profits that will accrue to the decision maker by following a particular course of action under various states of nature. The matrix given in the table shows the payoff. As you can see on the screen, table 4 demonstrates action plans as columns and state of nature in rows. Action has been referred to as A1, A2, A3, A4 and the state S1, S2, S3. The horizontal line or various columns represent the alternative course of action and the vertical line or various rows show the state of nature over which the decision maker has no control. The decision maker has control over the action that he may take, but whether his action will be right or wrong is not in his control. That will depend upon the state of nature. However, the payoffs under all scenarios are given and they appear in the body of the table. Example A11 represents the payoff when the state of nature is S1 and the course of action is A1. Similarly, cell A21 represents the state of nature as S2 and the course of action A1. Let us take an illustration where a man can either increase the expenses on advertisement or he may decide to reduce the price of the product. His competitor may also reduce the price or maintain the price. Thus, what competitor will do is state of nature over which he has no control. His own decision will be his action plans. The same can be presented in the following payoff table where his profits in rupees are assumed. Table shows action plans as columns and state of nature in rows. The Maximin plan. According to this plan, the decision maker is having a conservative approach and he is not taking any risk. He follows a pessimistic attitude. The worst possible outcomes of all states of nature are taken. The best of the outcome, that is the one which offers highest return amongst all, is selected as the action. This is also the simplest plan and is applicable when payoffs are given in terms of profits. Step 1. Find out the minimum return or payoff under all possible actions. Step 2. Select that course of action which gives maximum of these minimum returns. Illustration in the following table. A's denote alternative course of action and S denote states of nature. Using Maximin criterion, determine the course of action. As you can see the solution in table. Now, if we look at the various choices that are with the decision maker, that is A1, A2, A3 and A4, the problem is to find out what should be the right decision. If he is a pessimistic person, he will always assume the worst to happen and therefore, if he decides on course A1, he will assume the worst to happen. If he goes by option A1, the state of nature as per him will be S2, as S2 is the minimum and the worst state, and this will offer him a payoff of rupees 12,000. Suppose he decides on A2, the minimum this time is S1, that is 18,000, and if decides on A3, the state will be S3, offering him a payoff of rupees 14,000. Finally, if he takes A4 course of action, the state of nature will be S2, that is rupees 8,000. Now, out of all the worst outcomes, the best is rupees 18,000. Therefore, A2 is the best decision. Next is Maximax plan. Under this plan, the decision maker is optimistic about state of nature. He assumes that whatever course of action he takes, the best will happen to him, and out of all those best occurrences, he chooses the one which offers him the maximum payoff. Supposing if we take the same example again, He will now decide on course of action as follows. Step 1. Find out the maximum return or payoff under all possible actions. Step 2. Select that course of action which gives maximum of these maximum returns. Illustration: in the following table, A's denote alternative course of action and S denotes states of nature. Using Maximax criterion, determine the course of action. Solution: here, if the investor chooses on action 1, as per the investor's opinion, the state of nature will turn out to be S1, as S1 offers the highest payoff amongst all when course of action is A1. Similarly, if he decides on course of action as A2, the decision maker will hope the course of action to be S2, offering a payoff of rupees 23,000, which is the best option. In case he goes by the action A3, the state of nature will again be S2, offering a very high payoff of rupees 25,000. Lastly, if he chooses A4, the state will be S3. Now, he has 4 choices and the payoff he gets from all the 4 courses of action are rupees 20,000, rupees 23,000, rupees 25,000, rupees 16,000. Since the best option is rupees 25,000, he will take decision in favor of action 3. Thus, we see that with the help of the 2 plans, a person may still make a choice and a rational choice even under the situation of uncertainty, depending upon his individual approach, whether pessimistic or optimistic towards life. He can follow the strategy of Maximin, a pessimistic approach, or the Maximax plan, an optimistic approach. In the first case, his course of action will be A2, the best outcome when the worst happens. While in the second case, the choice will be A3, the best outcome when the best happens. The first plan is a conservative approach without any risk. But the second approach is aggressive, where the decision maker may have to settle for less than his expected profit. Next is Minmax regret criterion. This plan is used only when the payoffs are given in the form of loss matrix. Even if the loss matrix is not given, a profit matrix can be converted into a loss matrix by calculating the opportunity loss of each cell. The opportunity loss is calculated for each state of nature separately, and highest profit within that state of nature is taken as the base. All other payoffs of that state are deducted from the highest profit of that state, and an opportunity loss is calculated. This shows that had this been the state, the decision maker would lose the amount by taking any other course of action. Illustration: in the following table, A's denote alternative course of action and S denote states of nature. Using Minmax regret criterion, determine the course of action. Solution: proceeding with the same example, if S1 is the state, the best action would be A1, as that offers the highest payoff rupees 20,000. By not following A1, the decision maker will lose rupees 2,000 if he chooses A2. He will lose rupees 5,000 if he chooses A3 and will lose rupees 6,000 if he goes by A4. If S2 is the state, best course is A3, as this offers rupees 25,000. Leaving A3 and following A1 means a loss of rupees 13,000, following A2 means a loss of rupees 2,000, and following A4 a loss of rupees 17,000. Similarly, we can find the opportunity loss if S3 occurs. The same can be presented in a loss matrix as follows. As you can see on the screen, opportunity loss matrix. The maximum loss under various states can be shown under the following table. Minimizing this loss, the best course of action is A2. Next is Herviks plan. Herviks looks at the best and the worst possible outcomes in any state of nature and assign prior probabilities to both the outcome. He assigns the probability to the worst outcome, also called as the index of pessimism, and 1 minus the index of pessimism is the probability of best possible outcome. The expected or weighted index is calculated and the best outcome is selected. Illustration in the following table. A's denote alternative course of action and S denote states of nature. Using Herviks plan with index of pessimism as 0.6, determine the course of action that should be followed. Solution. The best outcome is A2, therefore the decision maker should opt for A2 as demonstrated in the table. Next is Laplace criterion. Laplace also assigns probabilities to the various states of nature and does not take just the best and the worst outcome. He assigns probabilities to all. Since there is an element of uncertainty, no state should be assigned higher or lower probability. Each state shall be given the same probability. Solving the same example, as per Laplace plan, the value or expected payoff from various course of action would be as per the following table. The probabilities of 3 states will be 1/3 each. Table can be seen on the screen. As per this plan, action A2 is the best course of action. Next is analysis of the above methods. Except for the Laplace criteria, all other criteria are based on the attitude of the decision maker. Even if the attitude of the decision maker is conservative or aggressive, same criterion will not apply in all situations. The most risk-taking and aggressive decision maker may also apply the conservative style if the cost of bearing the risk is very high, whereas a conservative person may apply Maximax plan if the cost of going wrong is not too much. Next is a comprehensive illustration. Mr. X is thinking about manufacturing a product. He has 3 options. I repeat, he has 3 options to keep the installed capacity, but he is unaware of the response of the market, which can be good, average or poor. He can install 1000 units capacity plant action plan 1 A1 or 500 units capacity plant action plan 2 A2 or 300 units capacity plant action plan A3. The following table shows the payoff of his actions under various states of nature. Advice: what should be his course of action under various strategies? Assume 0.6 as the pessimistic index for the purpose of Herviks plan. Solution: first, as per the Maximax plan, he should go for the highest payoff of rupees 20,000, that is strategy A1. 2. As per the Maximin plan, A3 is the most secure plan as shown in the table. Third, payoff table of opportunity loss as you can see on your screens. Minmax regret criterion, strategy A3 with minimum regret as shown under the following table. Fourth, Herviks plan, he should go by plan A3. Table for calculating the weighted index has been shown in the table. Fifth, Laplace criterion. As per this plan, the strategy should be highest of as shown in the table. Therefore, after the analysis, the best strategy is A3. Now, let us summarize. This module focuses on decision making and mitigating the effect of uncertainty and risk on the ability to take a right decision. What can occur in the environment is uncertain. How the future events will unfold cannot be known in advance. But decisions cannot wait until the state is known. They have to be taken right away. So, there are certain plans that help in decision making which can be applied depending whether a person is conservative or aggressive. First, Maximin plan, a pessimistic approach where worst profits are taken under different states of nature and the best from it is picked. The decision maker will not go below this, however, he can get more. Second, Maximax plan, an optimistic approach where the best is imagined and the best of best is expected to happen. The outcome cannot get better than this, however, there are chances that it may go down. Third, Minmax regret criterion, another pessimistic view, but instead of taking profits, loss is minimized. Fourth, Herviks criterion, assigning probability to the worst outcome index of pessimism and remaining probability is assigned to the best outcome and weighted index is calculated. The decision that gives highest weighted average is selected. Fifth, Laplace criterion. Under this plan, all the states are assigned equal probabilities and the highest weighted payoff is selected. All the criteria except Laplace consider the likelihood of the worst or the best. So, a pessimist will follow a pessimist plan while an aggressive investor will follow an optimistic plan. The same person may apply more than one plan under different circumstances. Thank you.